Hello, Pradeep. Very good morning.
Hi Gaurav, how are you?
Good. How are you, dear?
I'm also good. So today we are going to take a mock interview on the basis of Java technology. Okay, so are you ready for that?
Yeah, definitely I'm ready.
Okay, so for my first question, I will directly jump into the question. So my first question is that is Java is a platform independent or platform dependent?
Uh, logically Java is a platform independent language because it doesn't require any Java platform or Java code or Java software to run the execution of that program. Is only the JVM is required to execute any dot class. So that's why we can say that Java is a platform independent.
Okay, okay, great. So now, have you heard about the access specifiers in Java?
Yes. So there are basically four kind of access specifier in Java. One is default. Default meaning is that we can access that particular access specifier within a class as well as in the same package. And if I go to the next one is public, it's accessible with the all the classes, all the packages. And if I go the private, then it's only accessible within a class of that we have been use that particular specifier. If we go with the protected, then that will accessible within a same class and we can't inherit it. So that's the protected.
Okay, so now you have heard about the static keyword in Java.
Yes,
So we,
static.
yeah, we use the static keywords with the, you can say, variables also, like properties also, and with the method also. So what do you
Yes.
mean by static keyword, and what is the purpose of it?
So basically, when we use the static keyword or when we use that keyword as for the our properties, even it's a method or it's a property, it's called at the first time in the class because it's not really, it's a part of class and it's not required to create the object of that particular class. So when we call that load that particular class in the Java by the Java loader class, at that time they will execute and they will helpful when we have to call any function or any property without using, you can say, the Java main method as well.
Okay, okay, okay. So now, what are loops in Java? So have you ever heard about the concept of loops in Java?
Yes, so Java have basically three loops. One is for, another is while, and third one is do while. So if I'm go with the syntax of that, so the for loop have the for in brackets. It's having the, we have to first we declare or initialize the value, and second one is that we have to put the condition, and third one is the increment or decrement over the initialize what we have been initialized, and in between that we have the body of that. And if we go with the while, so while have the syntax while, and in between the brackets we have the condition, and later on we have the body of that. And in the body we have the, in the last of that, the increment or decrement of the particular variable instance which you have been declared inside of the while section. And the third one is do while. So if I go with the do while section, then in the do while there, the one benefit is that first we run that the program and later on we check that the condition. So that the body, and in the sorry, first run the first step of the first loop of the particular condition, and then it will check that the condition which you have been declare inside of the while section, and it will move again and again till the when the condition is met in.
Yeah, I was actually, this was my next question to ask the difference between the while and do while, but you have already given the answer. That's great. Okay, so and now sometime we use keywords like continue and break. So you have ever used in your program, and what is the use of that?
Yes, these are very useful keywords while we are using in our program. So basically, these two keywords which we are using in the loop concept, these are very beneficial while we are using in the loops. So the actually, if I go with the continue, so continue is a keyword which help us to skip a particular iteration from a loop. So suppose that I'm taking an example. So if a for loop and it's an initialization I equals to 0 and I less than 10, and I plus plus in the body. If I put at that the if loop, if condition, like if I equals to 4, and in between the if condition, I have been put at that the continue. So at the time of when the I reaches to the 4, then it will the skip the 4 iteration and move to the next iteration. And the same, and the next one is a break. If I go with the break section, then definitely it will jump out from the particular loop. Suppose I am taking the example. So if I put the same at the place of the same break condition at the place of continue, then with the I equals to 4 is matched, then at the time this program is jump out from the particular loop and it will not execute later on.
Wow, great, great, good explanation. Okay, now we'll come to there is a final keyword also. So what is the use of final keyword in Java?
Yeah. So final is very useful in Java. So final keyword is something which belongs to which when we use the final keyword, that means we are going to make it constant and only read only. That means if somebody wants to use that particular, if we declare it with this any property or any method, then if somebody wants to use it, he can only use it and he can utilize that function. He can't make any changes in that particular property or method. The another thing is that if the final methods, we can't do the overriding, because once we have been declared the final, so we can't make the any changes. If someone wants to do anything like that, if we want to change anything, then he or she have to declare is it's a in a static section, you can the constructor part, and he can make the changes later on.
Wow, great. Okay, so now have you used ever interface in an abstract class in your you can say in your coding part? Have you used? And if you have used, what is the difference between interface and abstract?
Yeah, so interface and abstract class, these are two most important concept in the Java. So we use interface because of if somebody wants to create a software, suppose that. So if we want to declare any method, which is any property or any method which he wants to utilize by the everyone, must be utilized by the everyone, and uh, so that that the program should run successfully or in the better manner, because these are the required features like that. So in interface, they are the all the properties or methods are the abstracts, and in abstract class there is not there is no restriction like that. There may be the any abstract or non-abstract class. In other thing is in interface, there are all the method or property having the public, static, and final. And but this is not true with the abstract part. And for the interface, we are using the uh, implement uh, implement keyword, and then in abstract class we use the abstract keyword to define that particular is a abstract or a interface. And an interface can only extend an interface. It cannot be extend any normal class, or you can say the concrete class or something. And in another thing is that in abstract class it extends any interface or any class as well. So
Oh,
here are the examples.
okay, okay, okay. So have you worked on the exception handling part?
Yes, definitely. I think the everyone who is working on the Java should be gone through with that, because this is a very important part. Without this, is not possible to cover everything. So in exception handling, we are actually. So first, I want to explain that what is the exception. So exception is something like that which occur or every which terminate the program in middle of the execution of the program. So that's called the exception. So to how we can prevent to break or stop the program or give the unexpected result. So we have two kind. We have using the try catch block, which is useful to protect, or you can say prevent from this kind of situation. And in the try block, we are keep that particular code where we are thinking or we are assuming there's any problem can or maybe arise in future. And catch blocks is the if we want to give the solution of that particular exception. So that part we will use in that manner. And there's a one more thing is that is finally. We use the finally key in the last of that, but it's used only if we are sure about that, we have to execute that part, sure or not. And one more thing is that there is no compulsion between the we have to use the try and catch, but there's a one important thing that we should either use the try or catch or try or final.
Oh, great. Yeah, you prepared very well. Okay, great. Okay, so can we have a class with multiple constructors?
Yes, we can do with the method over loading, but definitely they have the different signatures.
Okay, okay. Okay. Now, tell me, can we override a static method of a class? Means in a parent we have a static method, so in child we can override it.
Over static method. I have to think. Give me 1 minute. How it's work in the background. So I think static method is belongs to the class. So I think, and it's execute at the compile time. So I don't think so. It will nobody can do this as per
Yes,
my expectation.
yes, you are right, you are right. So because the thing is that whenever you can say, when we talk about the, you can say overriding, so it is, you can say, it is actually a topic of polymorphism. Like you have polymorphism of runtime and compile time. So whenever you are talking about the, you can say polymorphism, and it is totally related to the object. It is not related to the class. So you can override the things, or you can say override things on the basis of your object. So it is related to the object. So that's why, and the static thing is related to the class. So you cannot override. Your answer is right. Okay, great. So now the thing is that why strings, why string in Java are called immutable?
Okay.
Have you heard about the
That's a
immutable
very,
concept?
yeah, that's a very interesting question because this is something which is special in Java. So immutable means like we can't change the state of that. So in Java, strings are immutable in nature because they don't have any setter methods. This is also a property of the immutables. So we can only get them. We have the getter method. So that's when we can only read out or we can get that particular values from that. If we are using and we define any value in the string class. Another thing is that they are thread safe. So that's also one property, and this is defined in a heap memory. That's the one more important thing. That's why it's immutable in nature. And uh, once that we define the object of a string object, so that we can't change that value. That's why they are we say that this string is immutable in nature.
Okay. So now, if I have a code in my Java class, I want to run it
Mhm.
before main method. So how you can run it?
That's a really interesting question because we know that the static is something which is related to the class, and we can put that code in that block. And if we don't want to utilize the main method, so we can do one thing also in the static block. At the end of, we can use the system.exit so that without go to control go to the main method, it will execute the static block and comes out from the program.
Okay. Now, tell me, how objects of a class are created if no constructor is defined in the class? We have seen that when we create a class, we don't define any constructor there, but still we can create an object of in that class. So how we can do it?
Yeah, so it's something belongs to the constructor part. So every class have a constructor, either is a visible or it's not visible. If we make it visible, then definitely people can understand is a constructor having that class. And if you are not defining any constructor, definitely that every class have a constructor which is an invisible form. And we uh, sorry, can you repeat the question so I can more put in on that?
Yeah.
Because
So you can say, can we call the constructor of a class more than once for an object also?
yeah, so we can't call a constructor again with the same object. If we want to call next time, that particular constructor, then definitely we have to create the object of that class again. And we can do this with the new keyword.
Okay, okay. Now again, I'm coming to the exception part. Which type of exceptions are caught at compile?
Okay. Compile time exceptions are basically checked exceptions, which is caught by the JVM. These
Okay,
are the exception which we can handle at the time of the compilation, like class not found, like find not found. So these kind of the exceptions which fall in the cache exception, in which the JVM play the important role, and it will read out the complete program and figure out is there anything which is not defined in the Java libraries and which is against the Java libraries. So he will, the JVM will identify and notify to the user, you have been not control, you have been not uh, write that particular statement or something in that manner, which is compatible with the Java. So in that manner, JVM is notified to the user.
okay, okay. Now I'm asking about a scenario. Suppose that I have created a class, okay, and that class do not have the main method. So do
Okay.
you think I can compile it? Is it possible to compile it?
Yes, we can do.
Okay.
So because we have a static method, and if we static block, sorry. So if we put the in the static block, as I earlier said, that in the static block, if we put that the system dot exit, so we can do the compilation, and without goes to the control to the main method, it will will jump out from the class. So in that manner, we can do this.
Okay. Now tell me, can we call a non-static method from inside a static method?
That's a really good concept in Java. So we can do this, but there's a condition behind that. If we want to call any non-static method inside of the static method, like public static void main, then definitely we have to first create the instance of the non-static method, non-static class which having the non-static method. Suppose that I am taking an example, having a class is a class A, and it have a non-static method is like welcome, void welcome, and something is in the body, and another class is class B, and here the same method is with the static, like a static void welcome, and there's something in the some code in the body. Then inside of the public static void main, if I create the object of like class A equals to obj1, object1 equals to new class A bracket and semicolon, and if I call to the obj01 dot A welcome, object1 dot welcome, then it will call. And if and the same time, if you call the B class method like obj1 dot no, we can directly call that because it's part of same class. So like welcome directly call of the class B, then it will work. And if in again, if I declare a non-static method in the class B, like void welcome one something, and if I try to directly hit or directly call that function, and then we will get the compilation time of error.
Okay. Okay. So now you have heard about there is an equal method and equal operator in Java. So what is the difference between these two, equal method and equal operator?
Okay, so these are two different things, but looks like the same, because equal mathematical sign is defining the is a operator, which is somewhere uh, uh, notify or checking the reference of a particular object, is comparing the reference of object. However, when we go to the equals method, it will compare the value of objects. Like if I'm taking an example, like I have a class A, and I have create a string A equals to Ram, and string B equals to Ram. These are created in the string tool memory. And if I create the with the keyword new, string C equals to new, uh, uh, string c equals to new equals to class name, and we define something like any Ram, if even taking the same name is Ram. So if I using the yes1 equals to yes2, because these are two defined in the string pool, so definitely it's pointing to the their reference. So in that case, we are getting a response as a positive and it's a true. So it's giving the result as a true, means match values are matching. But at the same time, if I'm yes1 equal matching the yes1 equals to yes3, both have the same value. However, because the reference of the both objects are different, so in that way, it will give the false result and it will give the strings are not equals to. However, when we are using the equals yes1 dot, uh, suppose I am taking a yes1 dot equals to yes2. So definitely in that case, both have the different reference. However, because both have the same value, so it will give the positive result and we will find out that the strings are matching.
Okay. Now again, I will come back to the interface part. You are thinking, you were just thinking that sometime asking about interface, then jumping to the constructor, then back
No,
to.
that's okay.
Actually, I'm trying to just understand that. Okay, you are stick on your, you can say concept or not. So I'm just coming back and forward there. Okay. So again, I want to ask that, you can say in the interface, can we have static methods? Means static methods can be in interface.
Yes, we can, because the static method don't require the object creation. These are belongs to the class, so we can have a static method anywhere in any class. Is it doesn't matter is abstract or is a interface or is a concrete class.
Okay, so now again my question is that with the interface, that in a class implementing an interface, can we
Mhm.
change the value of any variable defined in the interface?
Okay. So can you please
Yes,
repeat the question so that
yes,
I understand better?
I'm saying that in a class implementing
Mhm.
an interface, okay, we
Mhm.
have a class that has already implemented an interface.
Mhm.
Can we change the value of any variable defined in the interface? It means in the interface we have a value, right?
Mhm.
Now a class already implementing that interface. So in implementing class, can we change the value of that variable?
Right now, I'm not able to understand, but I will try my best and give the some answer on the basis of my understanding. So I think we
Okay.
can do the changes in that. So for that, I think we have to. Uh, uh, I'm sorry, I'm not getting more on that. But sorry.
So interface is a thing that you can say where we can declare the properties and variables also. At the same time, you told me that there is a static is already associated with that. There is a final keyword also. Is there any relation?
Yes. So as I already earlier told you, so in interface we have either functions or properties are static or final or public. So static is something like which is belongs to the class, and final is something like that which is constant and we can't change that value, but it's a work as it's not part of the class. It will call at the time of object creation. So that's the difference only there.
So it means if a property is final, we cannot change it.
Yes, definitely we can't
Yeah,
change it. We can't
yeah,
override it even.
yeah. Okay. So now I have multiple constructor defined in a class. Okay. Is it
Mhm.
possible to call a constructor from another constructor's body?
Yes, that's the one topic is like constructor chaining. So
Okay.
that will cover that part. So in that we will use normally this keyword and the super keyword. So we can achieve this. Like if I want to call a constructor from the another constructor, so I'm taking the first example in which we have created we have a class A, and the class A having the first constructor is the same name like A and bracket, and in the body something is written there, and class B, and sorry, class A, and in the parameters having the int x and something in the body of that. So while we are creating object inside of the main method, so if I create the class A equals to y equals to new class A, and y dot uh, like class A, and in bracket we pass the 5. So once we do that, in that manner, we will first call the second constructor, which having the properties of the parameters of the X in the defined way. And but the one more thing is that while we are declaring these things, so we are using the this keyword first statement in the second constructor, so that it will call the first constructor. So in that way, first we will get the result of base constructor, then we will get the result of the constructor which you been overload. And the second thing is that is this is the class, this is within the same class. And another example we can take is in the same manner, in which we have to extend the another class, uh, and we can call in same manner, but where we use the only super keyword.
Okay, now we have a string class in Java and we have another class, a string buffer class in Java. So what is the difference between these two classes, string and string buffer?
Okay, so these are definitely two important things. In Java, string and string buffer both are two different things, and it's defined in that manner so that we can differentiate uh, in between the both. So a string is immutable in nature, and a string buffer is immutable in nature. And as a string is immutable, so it's a thread safe, as well as string buffer is also the thread safe. The and but in string is a, because string is a immutable, so we can't create the setter methods in that, and it's having the only get method. But is a string buffer is a mutable in nature, so it's having the both functions like getter and setters. And in string, if we have to add two strings in that, so we use the concat function. And in string buffer, if we have to add two strings, then we use the append function. And if I'm talking about the common properties of both, so both are the thread safe, both are the synchronized. And if I'm talking in terms of performance, so string have less performance, you can the slow as compared to the string buffer. And that's fine from my side.
You have prepared well. That's why you know the name of the functions also in the string class. That is great. Okay, now one common question. This is a very common question, but usually every interviewer like to ask this, that can you define the complete signature of the main method? Means it is a complete signature, like there's keywords are used, public, static, void, main, everything. So what is the mean of that?
Yeah, definitely. So there is something special behind that. Why Java, who's created Java, keep this is in that particular signature manner, like public, static, void main. So I'm go with the one by one. So I start from the public. So public here is means it's access, that particular function is accessible from everywhere. It doesn't mean within a same class, within a same package, or anywhere. So that's mean, because in JVM there's something written there. First, when the program is executed, it will search out the main method first. So if that particular function is not public, so in that manner JVM never have been identified that. So that's why it's keep it as a public. Then next thing is static. So we keep at the static because static is a part of class. It doesn't require the object in initialization, or not initialization, the object creation. So if we not keep it as static, then definitely object creation is required. But the public static void one is, there is no return type. So that's why we have to keep this as a static, so that when the program gets complete and it will not return anything, so it will execute with the, when the class is load at the in the class, in the memory with the class loader, it will execute at the same time. Void we kept it because there is no return type, so it's simple, so we kept it the void. And if we made any changes in these three parameters, definitely will the compile time if we make it private instead of public, like static instead of some, we have removed the static, then it's again we will get the compile time. In the void, if you want to keep it int or something, then again we will get the compile time. Then main. The main is the function which is described or defined already in the Java, in the JVM, which search into the Java library and first figure out that it will present in your class or not. on the basis of it will start execution the program. So we have to kept this method is main is necessary. If we want to change, like if I want to execute the program without main, then suppose I want to run with the my main, so we can do this, but we have to change the property into the library of that so that JVM can identify the my Java, and it will recall that function and it will work. And now goes to a parameter part. So there's a string argues. So means a string something which is because we are not aware about the how many parameters we are going to store into the particular function of whatever memory is required. So we use the string which have the uh, by which we can save the any parameters and n number of parameters. So we which is helpful to storing the or taking the input as a in the main method. That's why we use args is something like which is the name of the string, so we can skip is anything like Gaurav or anything.
Wow, great, great. This is my favorite question, but trust me, you have explained well. Wow. Okay. We always talk about that object in Java. There is a special class with the name of object in Java. So what is that class?
So object, if I'm talking about the object, so as Java is a OOPS concept based language, so an OOPS concept always based on the object. So object, you can say the super class or super grandparent or super object of Java, because any class or any function, any class, any inheritance, any sorry abstract class, any interface, everyone is a child of, you can say, the object class. These object class is a parent or grandparent or whatever you can say, the super class of the everything.
Okay. Okay. So now, again, I'm just coming back to your topic. What is the difference between overloading and overriding? Now I am interested in the difference
Okay, overloading and
and
overriding.
overriding.
Yeah, that's fine. So, okay, okay. So method overloading is a compile time polymorphism, and it occurs within a same class. Method overloading, we don't require instance creation, or we can do in both manner. We require or we don't require. It doesn't matter. And in method overloading, we can achieve by in the class by uh, keeping the same name of the function but having the different parameters in the same function. But we can achieve this by the three manners, like the number of parameters which is defined in the particular function, and the data type of the function which is present in the parameters, and the order of parameters which is defined in the parameter section. And uh, uh, and in method overloading, if I'm talking about the method overloading, is a runtime polymorphism, and it occurs in between the two class, and we can achieve this by the inheritance property, and we have to inherit it by using the extend or by using the uh, implements keywords. And uh, the in method overloading, we have to keep the function's name as same as we have defined in the parent class.
Great, great, great. Okay. So now, my last question is that what is serialization? People usually talk about that. What is serialization? So have you heard about that?
That's a really interesting question, because I yesterday I haven't gone through with that.
Oh,
So that's a good thing. So serialization is a process which we used to convert an object into byte stream and can save into files, database, or in object manner. So in serialization, there's a one interface is serializable, which is helpful to create to implement the serialization process. And if we write down the serializable in the class declaration, then it designate that that class is we are going to serialize. So in serializable, there are two functions. One is object write and object read. So which is helpful to serialization and deserialization of the any object. They both are work in the vice versa manner.
Oh, great. Okay, so yeah, actually, I want to ask so many questions, but the thing is that because this interview is really going well, but we have a limitation of time, we have to take another interview. But really, what I will say, what happens in the real interview, what happens that nobody is going to give you the feedback right now, but it is a mock interview. That's why I'm saying that you are in the right direction. What I can say
Okay.
that whatever you have learned, your concepts are clear, and you are going into the right direction. And if you want to move in the automation, I think you are ready to learn the Selenium things also. And when you learn the Selenium things, try to relate. This is not this is my advice, that when you try to learn the Selenium, try to find the examples whatever you have learned in the Java. Means this is the concept of inheritance. This is concept of, you can say, overloading, where you are using in Selenium, because you have your concept are so much clear. So when you learn the Selenium, try to focus on this, that which concept of Java is used in the Selenium where, right?
Yeah, sure, I will do. So I will try my best to implement all the concepts which have been learned in Java, so that we can utilize in better manner while I'm writing any program and any kind of case in the Selenium tool.
But it is a mock interview. That's something really. This is my one of the best interview I have ever taken. Really, best of luck.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Pradeep.
Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Same to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.